113seven5 presents the real journey of an entrepreneur, a live discussion that will help us understand the layers and failures of what it really means to live out your vision and dreams. During this series, we will talk with a number of individuals who have made the leap in the areas of finance, business consulting, real estate development, mental wellness, and as an author. We will also discuss the importance of managing our finance and the importance of collaborating with others to meet success. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook at 11375. And we thank you so much in advance for supporting, watching, liking, and sharing this information on this journey. Stay tuned. There's more to come as we considering to unpack all of what it really takes to be a real entrepreneur on this journey. We thank you so much for your support and stay tuned. Hey there, good people. It's showtime. Thank you so much for joining. Tonight is a wonderful and a special night. I'm just like super excited. So you'll see in a moment why when I bring on my guests. But for those who are tuning in live for the first time, I am your host and your moderator and the person behind the scenes. I am a part of HR and everything as well. Welcome to the journey of an entrepreneur. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the principal owner of 11375. We are certified as a minority women business enterprise within the state of New York, both at the state level and also at the city level within New York. So, what do we do? What don't we do? Well, let me just tell you what we do. We are your social business strategists that help, other entrepreneurs fill in the gaps with strategy, business development. We help align your bottom line. And so if you're looking for a dope business coach, if you're looking for, someone to help you to really take a good look at your business and your overall structure, please consider 11375. What we also have embarked on during this time, it's a crisis, it's a pandemic, but for me and many others, it is an opportunity for us to really take the time to really develop some of the skill sets that we have and really look at what we can do going forward. For some strange reasons, when challenges come and adversity comes, it kind of forces us to tap into who we are at our core. One, thinking about some of the things that I used to do. One, being a financial educator, tapping into to the skill sets of me being in financial services. So one of the things that I am doing currently is teaching financial education and also workforce development combined with entrepreneurship to young people. It has become one of the things that has become a consistent in my life, which is professional development and working and also supporting communities in which I've grown from and also am looking to serve. And so I am really grateful for the opportunity for you to join me this evening. This is a series of what I believe relevant conversations that we should be having around the kitchen table. We can't at the moment, but we can have this conversation virtually to help you to really unpack what the real journey of entrepreneurship looks like at a variety of different levels. If you've been paying attention to these series, we've been focusing on the restaurant business. We've talked about mental wellness. We've talked about what it means to be a business coach. We've also had, the opportunity to unpack the importance of having the right business insurance and also to focus in on our bottom line and also collaboration as well. And so what we have recognized is that being an entrepreneur, one, is not for the faint of heart. It is one that requires consistent work, failing, crying, and a whole lot of other things to make sure that this dream that you're looking to tap into and to create a legacy for your family will be successful. And so I say that to say this before we bring on our guest for the evening is, as we are venturing out into this whole different space, a lot of us are starting businesses in 2020, in spite of the challenges that we may be experiencing. What does it really look like to support a small business? Now, for me, I can tell you, I am not a financially rich person as of yet. However, what I can do, because my budget doesn't always lend to support, to buy products and services at the moment, I will reshare, post, market, make recommendations, do anything that I can to help to promote your business. I cannot do everything monetarily as of yet. And the other thing is that, I want to point that out because I've had a number of people, specifically in this space, they've asked for monetary donations. And unfortunately, me being honest with myself right now and where I am, I cannot support you that way. And it's nothing wrong with that. You cannot, make donations everywhere, but in a support and pursuit of helping out one another, there are a number of different ways. So please consider supporting, I don't want to say volunteer all your time, but, particularly within this social media and digital space, support, reshare, like, promote, do whatever it is that you can until you're able to support those goals and dreams financially. So I just wanted to put that out there because most people think that they don't really know how they can support small businesses. In the beginning, That's one easy way. So I want to get started because I am excited. I don't think you understand how excited I am. So I'm going to take out the paper and actually read formally the bio of my guest, Mr. Marcus M. Cox. MMC, as I affectionately call him, because he's just such an amazing person. You'll understand why I am excited. So Marcus Cox is a senior operations consultation manager on the operational excellence team and operational services at Starbucks. This is what he's currently doing right now. In his current capacity, he helps consult, lead, and write the steps of excellence, primarily focused on operational excellence, safety, and leadership. He represented the Ops Service and Leadership in Origin in 2020 and was the founding member of the Ops Services Inclusion and Diversity Task Force. So, we're going to dig into that. And yes, this is his real bio. Marcus has been a partner of Starbucks for 4 years, and during his tenure at Starbucks, he was also the district manager in Charlotte, North Carolina, and also upstate South Carolina. Prior to Starbucks, Marcus worked within financial services industry for over 15 years and was the president for Bank of America in Asheville, North Carolina, where he led a team that delivered the company's corporate social responsibilities and financial strategies locally. He was also responsible for bringing the full resources of Bank of America Merrill Lynch to clients by managing, coordinating, and integrating product and service delivery for all lines of business, with investable assets totaling $1.4 billion in deposits and $606 million in commercial loans. So where I get excited, because Marcus is currently working on a book that will detail the experiences of Black, Indigenous persons of color executives within corporate America. And the book that's in the work is entitled Navigating the Underground Railroad in Corporate America, and will highlight several industries and industry executives' successful pitfalls and splat moments. So we're going to really unpack that. So Marcus is a native of Winston-Salem, graduated from Winston-Salem State University with a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science. He is married to his college sweetheart, Veronica Cox, and they have 4 children, Marcus, Marcella, Marcia, and Carter. Let's bring them to the table, everybody. Marcus Cox, what up, MMC?
Hey, what's up, Anita? How you doing today? You ready to go? Are you ready to get it in?
I'm ready now. I wasn't ready 20 minutes ago. That's true. So welcome, Marcus. Welcome. So what haven't we said within your formal bio? Tell us a little bit more. Who are you now?
I would tell you, I aspire every day to kind of be a change agent, right? Being able to assess the current landscape and make it better. And I carry that through everything that I do. I always say it's the person that's vocal, but the person that's vocal with action that truly makes change. And in that change agency, I've carried that with me. I use this quote, and it's from somebody up north, because I call y'all Northerners up there in New York. But his name rings out. It's Christopher Wallace, right? Mm-hmm. Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie, said, you treat every day at work as if it was your first day, as if you were an intern. And if you take that type of care and that type of rigor, then every day, right, is the best day that you have. And, I tell young folks that's been my mantra as I've carried myself through, 15 years at Bank of America, 4 years now at Starbucks. And that's just a little bit of who I am, Somebody tries to get things done and connect people.
So let's talk about how we met.
Okay.
So Marcus and I have, is it 20 something, maybe 20?
It's been right. This is probably our 20th year. So 20 years this year, because I built my first house 20 years ago. And that's when I joined Urban Financial Services Coalition.
So, yeah, Marcus and I share civic community engagement duties together. One of, I would say, our proud moments, right? Besides,
Mm-hmm.
the other personal stuff that happens, we were a part of a very and it still is, very prominent organization formerly known as Urban Bankers, and it transitioned to Urban Financial Services Coalition. And I can tell you the work that we did, which is to provide support, educational support, and also to ensure that there was equity at the top level within corporate America. You're talking about 20 years ago. Was something that we prided in. We were doing things at that level that now we probably be too tired to do.
Right, right. Young. When you're young, you have nothing but opportunity and energy. And it's funny because people ask me even today, Anita, like, man, how you get all of that done? And I've heard critiques on we all have the same 24 hours, but that was our mantra. If we had time, we made the time available in between meetings, after work, before work, to not only do our jobs well, but to bring others along. And I've told you that story that I aspire to, and something that's been really key, particularly when we were working with Urban Financial Services Coalition, and even today. Everyone wants to navigate that corporate ladder.
Right.
And it's our responsibility, particularly of people of color or minorities, right, to continue to reach back and pull others along. But I always challenge people. There's two people on the ladder. It's you holding while you're going up and pulling someone else. How about we put 50 ladders on the same building and 50 people pull 50 people, and we have 100 people coming up at the same time? Because there's power not only in our numbers, but there's power in our diversity in being able to expand our inclusion into any industry. So I just continue to tell people, scaling and having a mentor group and pulling people along with you is great. But when you're able to scale that mentorship, scale that leadership, and bring 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people with you, that's when you know you're making a powerful impact.
Agreed. And without the intimidation factor, right?
Absolutely.
The intimidation factor. Because I also recognize, especially now being in this space of being an entrepreneur, that we all can have a piece of the pie, and we can offer our special sauce on that piece of the pie and still be able to collectively do something to make change within the community. So let's get into let's not get off of that, because
Yes.
you have transitioned from financial services into
Mm-hmm.
now working for everybody's favorite cup of coffee right now. So tell us what that transition was like for you.
It was interesting. I tell people, like, man, how'd you go from banking, finance to coffee? And I say two things. The first thing is I literally went online and applied. That was the first thing I did. I just didn't walk in and be like, look, I need this job. But in all seriousness, I had a colleague who went before me. And remember, I told you, as you reach back and you pull up, this gentleman, and I'll drop his name, Courtney Johnson, he was a high performer on my team. And that's when I was leading in the consumer market space, and Courtney was doing the same. I was doing that and the market president role, representing all the lines of business. But Courtney took a leap of faith, came to Starbucks, and he said, hey, man, this is a place where, Marcus, I know you can make an impact, that your leadership style matches the culture, matches where the growth of the company's going. You should come along. And I'm honest with you, two things. One, people take their coffee just as serious as their finances. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but they do. And then two, it's been a place where not only, and I know we'll talk about authenticity soon, but it's a place where I've continued to grow. And I found myself at 45, and I'm dropping my age, because we were young, 20 people, 20-year-olds, But now at 45, I'm in a much different place of being able to help other aspiring leaders that are coming up that ladder to give them, hey, you know what, this could be a pitfall for you. This could be a splat. This was a splat for me. Let me give you some of this education. And before I go any further, let me go ahead and get the legalese done so I don't get coached when I go to work tomorrow.
I know.
The views that I represent are my own. The views that I will share with you have not been approved by Starbucks Corporation or Starbucks Corporate. So anything that I say is what I'm entitled to and what I'm entitled to present. All right, we got the legalese out of the way.
Amen. Amen. So you transitioned from, going from corporate, from a financial beast, because I was there too, to going into, working for Starbucks now. So what is it like for you functioning in a corporate environment as a man of color?
It's no different than me going to elementary school, me going to Catholic school. No different than me playing football at an HBCU. The conditions around me, the environments around me have been multifaceted, but I've always been Black. You know, I've been a skinny Black man. Now I'm an overweight Black man. And there's some shade in that, right? And how people perceive you, but my Blackness has not changed. Thank God. And I would tell you that it is an asset sometimes. It's a liability sometimes, but I treat it and I treat myself with so much respect that you're going to deal with me. And I say that in the most positive way, because I'm going to be able to relate to whatever situation that I'm in. And I'm going to be able to find the value equation and understand how I promote your value as a company or as an individual or as an entrepreneur. And then I'm going to glean in your value statement how I can partner with you to make you better along with myself. And those are mantras, once again, that I have taken through this life. And it's been hard and it's been easy. Like I remember playing college football, and my football coach was the best economics teacher that I ever had, because he would tell us, I don't need people who can't play football. Think about that. He put me on scholarship, and he would remind us, whether it was through multiple repetitions of running or missing a play or breaking down a play, if you could not play football, he did not need you on the team. And think about that. That had nothing to do with my race, right? It had everything to do with my ability to be able to add value to his vision and his mission and win football games. And I carried that through my corporate America days, and I'm still in corporate America, and through my Starbucks days. It's the same value proposition. Now, I would tell you there's more authenticity in listening and understanding. And once again, you throw a pandemic in, but if your path is clear and your values clear, all those other things are just white noise because you're purpose driven.
Wow. Okay. End of interview. Done.
Well, we're good. We're good. We got plenty of time.
Of course we do. So I'm curious about, so you mentioned about this pandemic and, all of the rise, and not really the rise, but the focal point of racial injustice. Because it's always been, we've had conversations, about leadership at the top. And I remember having those same conversations when we were in that civic space of raising money and awareness. And so now that we have some quiet time, quiet ears, and we're able to focus in on it, how do you feel that we can, as entrepreneurs, as a community of color, and when I mean color, this is the wide spectrum, right? And hold corporations that we spend money with accountable to help our communities in need?
You want the real, right? Like you want the real speak.
Okay.
All right. So championship mindset. I consider you a champion. I consider the group of people that are listening to this particular workshop. Champions. I consider myself a champion.
Right.
Champions play at a high level and hold the people around them accountable,
Mm.
right? We play at a high level and we hold the people around us accountable. So, regardless of corporation, fraternity, sorority, church, non for profit, or corporation, it is our ability to say, this is what's right, this is who we represent, and you're not going to misalign me, misappropriate me, or overlook me.
Mm.
And we've all had instances where that, what I would call that spirit comes in, right? And we will professionally smudge somebody in a nanosecond. Be like, no, we're not doing that. But we gather ourselves and collect ourselves as professionals and use the weight of our words and the weight of our community's pocketbook to hold the accountability. Because what I've seen and what I've challenged many places, your audio should match your video.
Mm.
When those two are out of sync, then you're not living your true purpose, corporation, nonprofit, church, right? All of those things. So all of those things are agnostic. They're not really different. What's different is the champions that represent those spaces and the people that stand up and stand out for others. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. But you had me write that down. The audio and the visual needs to be in alignment.
Yeah, they need to match. I mean, think about you watching TV and you know back in the day when we used to watch those movies and I ain't say that we got them from the barber shop and the video was a little bad and you hear people and then people laugh in the background. Like that's out of sync. And I go back, there are many, many times where I've seen corporations that I've worked for, corporations that I spend my money. They talk about their civic duty, or we're doing this, we're doing this. But then you look inside and it's like, well, what are you really doing? Or, right, they aren't saying anything and their video's so great. And it's like, no, you have a responsibility to speak up so you can lead others along. So that audio visual match has to be in sync and should be in sync in order for us to carry not a movement, I'm just going to call a purpose driven humanitarian life forward.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just switch this a little bit.
Okay. Bless you.
I know that was I'm getting into the sexy voice now. So when you are thinking about, so you talked about the bringing, not just one, but like 50 people along to help to move things forward or whatever space that we in. So who do you consider some of your OGs or your original guardians or your OGs gangsters that have helped you to navigate? You mentioned one earlier, but were there any other notable people along your journey that have helped you?
Oh, man, a whole bunch. And, and this is something that I've shared, and I've not been as pointed in recent years as I have been, but I've had mentors. I've had tons of mentors. And I always say when people would ask me to mentor them, it would always felt strange, right? Because it's like, okay, you want me to mentor you, but I don't know you.
Mm.
That what's the relationship that we have? Typically, and there's deviations from that, but typically people seek you out because they see something in you. They see, hey, this kid has the stuff, the secret sauce. I want to sew something into this person. And I've been blessed and fortunate to have people. So I purposely put this on because I knew you were going to ask me this question. So I have on a dress shirt, and underneath this dress shirt, I have a black shirt on. And there was a time when I was a young financial service provider, coming up, where I would have my dress shirt on, and then I would have a T-shirt, and it could have been a Corona beer T-shirt underneath. It could have been any number of things underneath my white dress shirt. But think about it. My father was in law enforcement. My mother was in education. My aunts and uncles were professionals, whether they were in academia or surgeons. But we really didn't have anyone that I grew up with in financial services. And once again, right, I'm showing up, I'm doing my thing. They're like, hey, brother, if you have this shirt on, you need to have a V-neck shirt and a plain white, right? Because your image not only speaks for the people that are around you, but the people that are coming behind you. And I had all of those types of coaching. I've had people when I could not speak well say, hey, you should try Toastmasters. And, I'll rattle names like D2 Kasui, one of my very best friends and my fraternity brother, um, always said and challenged me. He was like, Marcus, man, in order to be a change agent in this world, you should surround yourself with 10 friends that all have $10,000. So you would never be able to say, hey, I have this opportunity and not be able to turn to a friend that could give you $10,000 cash. Now, it's interesting enough, I ain't talked to D2 in about 5 years. So let's just read into that. He must have known I ain't had that $10,000 in my pocket and put me out of his circle of 10. But it was still good coaching, right? It was still good coaching. Daryl Coker, another gentleman that I revere and has been instrumental in my career, he pushed me and really taught me, one, how to be a credit analyst in financial services, how to spread credit, but most importantly, how to keep my authentic self in a very white industry, particularly as a commercial banker, how I can show up authentically and do the real work. And countless others. Ann Bush up there in New York. I mean, everybody loves Ann. Demita. Tons of people here now. Zing Shaw at Starbucks has been instrumental in helping me see clearly and move forward. So a number of people that I would consider mentors, all of which some have said, hey, I want to sow into you, and some that I just watch because they have that gusto. And when you have and you're surrounded, I go back and you're in that champion circle, great breeds great. Iron sharpens iron.
Mm. I like how you bringing up some good memories and some good names. So
Yes.
those are the OGs that I would definitely you know pay homage to. Um, so I want to you talked about being authentic. In and out of financial services. Now that you're into making coffee,
Mm-hmm.
how do you or what are the ways that you show up being your authentic self? Like you mentioned earlier, yeah, you've always been, black, but sometimes that can, in different spaces, even though you want to show up as who you are, it still
Mm-hmm.
can be intimidating. And sometimes we don't want to talk about the shifting that sometimes we have to do as persons of color, right? I remember for me specifically, when I was in investment banking, I would, it was always the suits, the gray, brown, the black. You have to wear like specific colors. I couldn't wear my hair in a natural state. I had to press it because I wanted to fit in culturally. And I would always be the only brown little girl in this space, and no one else looked like me. So
Mm-hmm.
so let's talk about being authentic now in 2020. Right? Because it shifts a little bit differently now that we have, like, for in New York, they passed a law about the hair, like, which is
Right.
you got to pass a law about hair,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But just thinking about showing up as an entrepreneur in the corporate environment, or even as an entrepreneur presenting to a corporate partner, how do we show up being our authentic selves without feeling the shame? Because some of us still carry the shame, Marcus. Let's be
Yeah.
real about that.
Yeah. This isn't popular, and I don't say it to be, people's best friends. No one really wants to see your true, authentic self.
Mm,
Like, I just think I know a number of people that are married, and when they authentic at home, their spouses do not like each other.
mm,
There's a level of assimilation that you do when you represent yourself or an organization. We don't like to hear that, and people cringe a little bit, but it's the truth. Because I have right now, when I'm done, I'm going to go upstairs and hang out with my friends. Those conversations that I have with my squad is a totally different conversation than I have with my friends at work. And it doesn't mean that I'm less authentic. It's just those things and those identities don't transfer over all the time. So don't lose authenticity or be authentic and lose the opportunity. So what does that mean? Like, what are you saying, Marcus? Let me be very exacting. Understand your audience, bring yourself, your spirit, understand the value that you own and that you have, and be able to share your value with others. But there's certain places, like if you go to the US Capitol, you know what? The rules say that if you're a gentleman, you wear a jacket. You just don't walk in with a t-shirt. Those are the rules. That doesn't mean that when Mark Zuckerberg goes up and he doesn't have his hoodie on, that he's selling out. No, it means that he is assimilating to the cultural norms that we have. Now, when those cultural norms are based on bias and racism, that's when, once again, your champion squad comes and you become the truth teller and you talk to people about why this is biased, why this has or is bred out of racism. And once again, it's not popular, and I don't want and don't care if everyone agrees with me, but I don't want to see your whole authentic self. No, I don't. Because we as Black people, we wrap our hair. Like I told you, I got this hair, and I used to be bald all my life. I got to put something on my. If I lay down, like the stuff is off. But I'm not going outside with a cap on. Like that's just not me, right? Because once again, I have an image that I have created, and I want that image to be representative of my true self, but also representative of value that I can bring to others. But hear me loud and clear. There's a difference between authenticity and assimilation.
Mm. Let's
Okay.
unpack that. Let's unpack it.
Right? Assimilation is what you were talking about when everybody has brown, gray, and black, and everybody has the same talk points, and everybody has the same laugh, and everybody, when a leader says something, even when it's stupid. And think about it, we've all had those leaders, let's just call it what it is. We've had those leaders that are less than, and you have the less than leaders, and you allow that less than leader to be in your championship squad. No, no. When you run at a fast pace and you're a part of a 4x1 relay team, guess what you can't be? You can't be the shot putter trying to run anchor. You can't, right? So we as champions, we as truth tellers have to root out the people that can't be in that circle. And that's not mean. That's not mean. That's not bias. It's bringing best on best to understand the value and where you're going. So don't assimilate. And that's where people lose. You can assimilate. And that's something that I don't do. And it hurts me sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I laugh a lot, right? And you talk about how you show up in places. I am a 6'2", 300-pound football player. Now, when I was in college, I was a 200-pound linebacker. Right now, I look like a defensive, not no, I look like an offensive guard. It hurts my heart to say. But when I speak and I am direct, that can be perceived by other people as, oh my God, that man's angry. No, I'm being acute. I'm being very exacting, right? But if I was 5 shades lighter, 200 pounds less, then it would be, oh man, that person, he's very serious about the business. So you have to understand not only the environment that you're in, but how people see you. And once again, understanding how you can find the value that they need from you and be able to go in and not exploit it, but go in and grow it so it's symbiotic, that you're both feeding on that same type of energy to move forward.
And so, next question, and I appreciate you sharing that. So, for entrepreneurs who are looking to to target, transition, tap into, any corporate environment, what do you recommend? And including that they show up as their authentic self, but knowing when to manage or ride the wave of
Yeah,
the
you
operation.
got to be a collaborator. And entrepreneurism and working in a corporate setting should be the same thing,
Mm,
right? Just think about it. You have to collaborate as an entrepreneur. You need to be able to have collaboration as your superpower. If collaboration is not a part of your superpower, then you need to grow that skill because, once again, if you're an entrepreneur trying to sell me a good or a service, I don't need a 55-minute presentation. You're going to lose me. If you're selling me something and you don't know me, you don't understand what I value, you don't know what I need, you don't know how to consult into me, then guess what? I don't need that conversation.
mm,
And that's capitalism 101. It's what value are you bringing to the table? What research have you done to understand the person that's across from you so you can gain successful relationships and have those things be moved? And that's universal and it's transferable. It's transferable,
mm.
it's money makeable, right? And guess what? It carries you through life. It carries you through life. So the most unsuccessful entrepreneurs, and I've met plenty of them as a financial lender, right,
Mhm.
are the people that have the greatest ideas but can't use their mouthpiece to explain the value add for that great idea because they're not listening. They're listening with their mouth, not listening with their ears. Because when you shut up and you listen and you understand the presentation, the group or the people that you're talking to, then you're able to make that influence and make that change, that collaboration, that value add. So that's what I would just challenge entrepreneurs and, quite frankly, anybody who's looking to form a relationship. That's the win.
So for all those who are listening, these are some gems from someone who has experience in financial services, who has overall experience now making coffee. And these are some gems. So I'm just going to put up a couple of comments, MMC,
Mm-hmm.
because you got some fans. So Chiquita Stevenson, thank you for checking in. She says thank you for your transparency. And also, she said you dropping some gems. I told you this was gonna be good. I listen, I told you all this was going to be good. I've had some good discussions, but this is, one that, I'm just excited about because we get to hear from someone who has experience within the corporate environment. I have it too, but just, I'm just not in that space anymore. So I need to be provided with tools as to what's current. And so thus the conversations like this will help me to become current and more to be able to collaborate. So you have in the works this book, right?
Yes. Accountability partner. Yes.
So as I see that you have wonderfully book is going to be entitled Navigating the Underground Railroad in Corporate America. Come on, MMC. Come on.
No. So it's many people think they've gotten to where they are by themselves.
Mm,
That's something that I've learned, particularly when you start to see C-suite executives and C-suite executives, people of color that are C-suite executives. And I want to challenge us, and this is something, and hear me out, right? We as a people have always, how can I explain it? When we give something, we typically do it privately. When
mm,
we're helping somebody, we typically do it privately, one on one. When my grandmother used to give me money, She would give me money and close it in my fist and tell me not to open it. Right? But what I've learned in my journey in corporate America is that my peers that don't look like me, when they get money, they tell people how much they make. When they become successful, they share that blueprint. They create those social clubs. They create those business organizations. And you were talking about pie earlier. When you're sharing the pie, everybody gets fed. But when one person's eating too much pie, that's when you get diabetes and your foot cut off. That's real talk. Like, so we have to, and that's what, describing this underground railroad, we have to be able to communicate and share our splat moments. We have to be able to share, hey, when I was in financial services, these are the organizations that I joined. This is the risk that I took. These are the 5 things that you have to be exact on if you're going to have an opportunity. But you also have to be able to think, right? And it goes back to that ladder strategy. We don't have time for one-on-one.
Right.
We need 50 ladders. We need 50 people pulling 50 people, and then 500 people pulling 500 people, then 5,000 people pulling 5,000 people. And the way that you do that is scaling the information in open source. We have to open source this railroad, this navigation through the stuff, because there's always going to be stuff. But we click, right? We get a little cliquish. We pull 2 or 3 people together, or you know what, this dude sounds country and I just don't know if I want him to represent that way. No, that's not it. And it's once again something that I've seen across all industries. It's the same way in healthcare. It's the same way when someone wants to get tenure in academia or education, right? They got to know who to talk to, what to publish, but everybody doesn't know that. And I am inspiring. And if you steal my idea, folks, I know where you are. I'm coming to get you. Coming to get you. But at the same time, I am working, and we're about there to really start to blueprint out how to be successful and how to navigate an underground railroad in these industries. And I think not only will it lift, it will be the tide that rises all ships, but it will also be the lift that's going to take our next generation and get them faster. Because think about it, we did this from 20 to 40. Imagine if we could do this from 20 to 25.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's real talk.
I'm going to put up these comments because I know Ebony, hey, Ebony goes, she just died laughing because, you talked about the diabetes in the foot because we had too much pie. And then Shakita says, don't lose your foot.
Mm-mm.
And she says, if you put it out there, I'm going to pick it up.
Yes.
So it's a vibe. I just told Marcus I'm gonna be his accountability partner because it's amazing to see. Like you said 20 years. I'm like, I'm 45 too, but we don't look it though. Let's just put that out there. We just functioning at a different level of energy. We utilizing our time and resources a little bit more strategically than when we was out in the streets. Not really, but
I got bad knees. I'm going to tell everybody, my knees are shot.
Mine not.
I don't know where that goes in this, but yeah, man, my knees are gone.
Why?
Told you I was going to cut up. Please invite me back. Please invite me back.
So yes, it's really, so you are going to or plan to be working, right, to fuel your dream, right? Because it is something that we've all had to experience. Every entrepreneur has not just jumped, right? Because we still got mortgages, bills, other responsibility, children. Like I got a 5-year-old CEO, and she's 5. So do the math, y'all. I started late in life, but yes, you do the math. So yeah, you're not just making the jump. You're being very strategic in what it is that you are planning to do. I am excited about this book. So if this will propel you to put some fire to get it done a little bit faster, I see the comments. They look like they waiting too.
No, I'm going to get it done. And I tell my other accountability partners, all my muses and my friends, that things happen in time and in the right time. And
Exactly.
there's been a lot, I mean, just a lot between social justice, work. Look, this college student who came home because Rutgers, because of COVID, couldn't keep no children. People don't want their kids at home. They sending their babies out in these schools because they look. And I have one that's at Rutgers University. I can't wait to get back up there. I need this COVID to go. I need this sickness out of here. So and I hope she's not watching. So she's not at the house using up all my stuff. This grown woman, like she's been in school a long time. So, but all of those things, honestly, have coalesced, and it's been really a pleasure and a blessing to have space to think about it. And I talk about the reciprocal effects of COVID. I've been able to sit down in a space some days where I've not slept, and I can get 20 pages done. I can get structurally what needs to be done. I have the look, me because I'm all about my money, right? I have the copyrights, I have the trademarks. So all of those things are done. Now it's the creativeness. What is those things that are going to be creative in order for me to get there? But I always tell people this: I have a very good job. I live a fairly well life, but I am never going to be so interdependent on one organization that if something happens there, that I'm not ready to go somewhere else. Now, on them streets, we call that hustling, right? But professionally, we call that being prepared. And it's really the same thing. And if I can leave people with anything, I would tell you, when you want to do business with someone, your true authentic self shows. You listen, you understand that person's value, and you add value. When you're not authentic and you're putting on this persona, it can work for a period of time, but excellent people smell through the defecation of bull,
Mm.
right? They smell through that. And then the people that don't smell through the defecation of bull, when you're not living your authentic self and you're putting on this persona, you're a miserable person, because it's hard to fake that long. It's hard, it's exhausting. It sucks the soul out of you, right? And then guess what happens? You suffer from depression.
Mm.
You don't lose a foot, you lose a person, right? Because you've lost yourself. So I always say, when you're yourself, you surround yourself with champions and you have that championship mindset, and you have those 10 people that have $10,000 available. And probably given inflation and age, it's probably closer to $17,000 now, but let's just get to 10. You know what I'm saying? Let's just
Mhm.
get to 10. You can move and make things happen. And I just hope that people find this to be enriching and find this to be, once again, another moment or another catalyst to achieve their dreams.
I knew this was going to be good, but it's like, I'm just excited for at least the audience who's going to be watching this, who's watching this live and on replay, to see what I've been knowing for years. So, but not only the jokes are good, but yeah. So, last two questions, and not really last, but what would you advise someone who is interested in working in a corporate environment and they're just starting out now? They may not want to go into the realm of entrepreneurship, but they definitely want to look into going into the corporate environment. Any
Know
thoughts?
what, yeah, know what you're good at.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen so many people fail because they're trying to do something they're not good at. Know what you're really good at. If you know what you're really good at and you're passionate about by it, and your passion matches your innate or your learned ability, that's a beautiful thing. That's a hurricane. That can't
Mhm.
be stopped. That's an El Nino, right? Right? But when You're doing something and you're not very good at it and you're trying. And once again, the people here that are looking for that value, and remember what I said earlier, my football coach, who was my father's quarterback, told me, if you can't play football, I don't need you on this team. And many times in corporate America, we're really not good at being that truth teller to say, look, I love you, you're a good person, you're just not in the right place. So anyone who's looking at corporate America, understand what you're good at. Start there. And then find what you're passionate about and match those two together. Not only will you have supreme happiness, but you will be able to continue to join or create that value equation for both sides. Because don't do nothing for free. No, we can't. Hold on. Yes, you do things for free. Let me say that. Let me be very honest. But when you need to eat and provide for your family, don't give away your gifts. Because people will do it. They will take your gifts and create a system for themselves that feeds themselves. So when you go to corporate America, it's like dating. You can't give them everything. You just can't. You have to be able to say, hey, this is what I provide. This is my value. I'm going to match what you're bringing to me. But guess what? You got to pay me and you have to see me.
I feel like you doing like this to the camera, like yeah.
Look, that sounds like I had that conversation a couple weeks ago, don't it?
Yeah. So I see a couple of questions. Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. She said this is awesome that you must add value, which she's agreeing with you. But then I have a couple of questions. So, hey, Shakita. Like I love that you focusing in on this conversation. Thank you again for joining and supporting. I really appreciate it. So she asks, without losing good, dedicated friends, how do you suggest balancing when you're scaling or in your winning circle?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And going back to, right, it's where do you invest your time most, right? We all have friends that, once again, everybody's not going to be in that champion circle, but that doesn't mean you don't go and participate in Mardi Gras. I mean, no, you need to be able to have those friends, right? Those friends that, how can I say it? And this is going to sound terrible, but you know, you gotta have a little ratchet. I don't know any other way to say it, right? You gotta have just a little bit of ratchet in your life, but that can't be your whole life. Right. And if you turn around and everybody's ratchet, then you're in the wrong place. But you have to be able to know what you're sowing into yourself and be able to invest that circle, right? Because that is your growth circle. But if that's all that you do, then you're also losing out and missing some of the other things that are fun. Because guess what? Everybody who's in my winner circle doesn't mean that the people aren't winning. They're just right now not at that level that I need them to be in order to move forward. But I'm not treating them any differently. I'm not moving them along. I just know where I'm spending 90 or 80% of my time.
So I got, hey, Antonio Pierre, how are you? He said he agrees with you. And she says, knowing your worth is important. Thank you for your comments. I have another question. This is from Ashley. Hey, Ashley. She says, you talk about the 50 ladders and bringing 50 people up and sharing knowledge. But at what point are you overextending yourself at the expense of your business? Because your time is valuable.
Yeah, I've for Marcus, right? I can't speak for everyone. I'm at a place now where I'm okay giving things away. And I don't see me sharing or oversharing as an overextension. I see it as a generational move. And I say that very clearly because, I try not to bring politics into many things, but in talking to my mom and talking to my aunt that were in the civil rights and dealing with that, they're like, things haven't changed, right? They're like, nothing has changed. And I continue to think, why haven't those things changed? Because we hit a certain station and we think we've arrived. You know what? There has to be an overextension sometimes. And there are going to be people that are going to lose more than they gain. Then there are going to be people that gain and bring others along. But I think if you're bringing other people along in your circle or like minded, that's going to take care of itself. And life has ebb and flows. Like, I am not perfect. Do know I told you, I've bought a lot of homes. I've lost a lot of homes. I've bought a lot of cars. I have gone through three financial crises. I've gone through a personal crisis. So my stuff isn't perfect. But what hasn't changed is that Mamba mentality about how I attack my circumstances. And I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have splats. But what I'm not going to do is not look out for my fellow man. And I go back. Sometimes that hurts me. That hurts me at work. Sometimes it hurts me at home, right? But in my core, I know that I can sleep well because I have given of myself. First of all, servants of all.
And thank you for that. And so Ashley follows up. Shouldn't you also charge for the knowledge you took the time to acquire? So I guess she's talking about, the knowledge that we are sharing, being a consultant, like, that realm. Like, shouldn't we be charging for that?
Um, Compensation happens in many different forms. So I think about you and I. You've been to my house, right? When you were coming to see your brother, and we sat around our table
And you
with
made
our
some good food,
families.
by the way. Let's always put that out there because Marcus got a skill. His wife. They do some food. Thank you. So I want to put that out there. Side note. Thank you.
And we ate. And that was compensation for me because what you were sowing into me at that time was helpful. But I had no money then. I was living in Northern Virginia in a house that was too big, driving hours back and forth, but I could feed you. That was my compensation at that time. And then there are times, right, where no, I do. And once again, I talk about your value. I have value. And guess what? Starbucks, DuPont, Bank of America. You have capital. You need to pay me for my value. And I heard this because something that I didn't share earlier, right, is that I'm the co-chair. I am a co-chair on the Black Partner Network. It's our employee resource group. And we had a situation a couple of years ago in Philadelphia where, you know, we had a leader make a bad decision that hurt the company. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But in that situation, it got me off my butt because I was like, man, I'm 40 years old. I've done the diversity network. I've done urban bankers. I've done Toastmasters. I'm tired. Like I, I have given, I have sewed in. And then what I found out was, no, my job's not done.
Right.
Like I still have work and people to help. And this is what I found, particularly if I'm being real. I joined the Black Partner Network to help. And then there was a period this year. Well, I became the help. And I was like, how did that happen? No, no. But guess what? I had the professionalism to say, look, I am, and I think one of your viewers said it very clearly. I am giving you an awful lot. Like this is the benefit of my experience, and this is a paying job. I should be compensated for this. And as a matter of fact, if we are serious about this type of work, all of these network co-chairs need to be compensated, right? But once again, going back to value, leadership valued my opinion. They understood the work that I was doing and where that work was going. And decisions get made and things happen. But that's a real good example of being able to say, I'm going to extend myself, but I'm not going to be abused.
Mm. Mm. So I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions that, again, you are striking up the fire. it's just really humbling to hear you speak from a different perspective. And I want to thank you for answering those questions. So I'm going to wait a few moments to see if there's, because we're in this digital space, just see if there's any more questions, because I know we type in. But while we are waiting to see if there's any more questions, what are some other, so in really wrapping up, tools that and tips that you can take away for those who want to enter, those who want to work with as an entrepreneur, as a partner, collaborator with corporate America. What tips can you offer? Because you shared some gems, but just some additional parting stuff that you may have forgot, because we up in age and they say it transitions when we get old.
Nice. I would say life is so much easier now
Mm,
because knowledge is so much more accessible.
right.
Um, Now I'm showing my age again. I remember when, in order for me to gain knowledge, I had to beg my parents to buy the Britannica encyclopedias.
Woo.
And those Britannica encyclopedias came in 20 volumes and 100 pages. And do you remember when you saw the human body and it was on one page and it had all the little plastic
Yes.
pages and you had to flip it over to learn something? You remember that? See, I'm old enough to remember that. That was hard.
I am too.
Right. Now, once again, we all have the same 24 hours. And as my father would say, the Google, everything's on the Google. You can Google resources and opportunities and see what other people are doing. You can create crowdsourcing, right? I mean, there are just so many things in this digital age that we did not have. I have very little patience around, I can't.
Mm,
Yes, you can. Let me show you how, but take the same level of enthusiasm that you have for watching cable television and use that same enthusiasm in sewing into yourself, right? Because guess what? If you can watch it on TV, you can YouTube it. You can even stream your phone on the television and use that as a device to learn.
mhm.
And a lot of these things are free. But if you're going to be a player in the domain, then learn how to be a master of that domain. And that's through education and that's through knowledge. And guess what? You can have bad credit and still get a library card. I am living proof.
Mm. So you okay, MM.
Woo! I'm
Okay.
gonna give you that one for free. That's in the book, but I'm gonna give you that one for free. I'm having a good time, Ashley. I'm having a real good time.
Yeah, and yeah. I just spent my last Sunday in Ashley's driveway, just talking, because we haven't seen each other
Hmm.
COVID. But it was just a nice time to just sit in. So I thank you for coming out, not coming out, but watching, tuning in live, asking MMC some questions. And I don't see any more questions, but Marcus, I'm going to say good night. Let's just, oh
Yes.
my.
No, look, thank you for having me. And I told you anytime, right? You need me, you're my 24/7 champion, right? Anytime, any day of the week, I'm here to support you. You are a wonderful human being, and you continue and you always do great work, and you will continue to be successful. And anything that I can do, I want to make sure that I'm investing in you so you can invest in the others. So I'm very proud of you, and I'm humbled that you asked me to do it. And I'll take any coaching and feedback afterwards. But many blessings to you. And I always say, I always tell people, peace and love, man. Peace and love. Yeah, I'm gonna be up in New York. I told you I got to take my baby back, so I'll be up there near Rutgers University. I know it's in New Jersey, so don't let me get all the people. Hey, I'll be up in your area, and I know you're a little further north. Marcus went to West Point. I can't believe I was so close up there all the time and didn't come and see you. But
Shame on you.
yeah,
Shame on you. Shame
yeah.
on you. So I want to say thank you Marcus. Thank you for everyone for joining. It has been a pleasure. And also, if you want to connect and link with Marcus, his LinkedIn contact information is there. It's been scrolling. He will be happy to connect with you. Don't be creepy though, because sometimes people will be just adding you on LinkedIn and craziness. But if you genuinely want to support the efforts that he got a book that's going to be in the works, and he has some other things that's happening. LinkedIn profile scrolling across the bottom, and I want to thank you all for just taking time out of your schedule. There's more to come because these are the conversations that I believe personally that are needed and necessary to help us grow. It has been a pleasure. You have dropped some wonderful gems, 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 gems. Um, and so, yeah, this was great. I look forward to doing this again, Marcus, and thank you so much for joining. And again, please feel free to connect with Marcus on LinkedIn. He'll be happy to connect with you that way. So I'm sending you virtual kisses. Enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll be in touch again soon. Thank you.
All right, peace and love. Y'all
All
be well.
right. Take care. So it is, again, I just want to thank you all for, just joining. I putting out there my age, 45 is amazing, but it's really nice when you have individuals that you can tap into, talk to, throw things out there and share time and space with. But I want to salute you all, for taking time out of your schedule to listen to, this little brown girl from Brownsville. It is really amazing to see, what has come about this series, and I'm excited to present more. I am going to be continuing this series for this go around up until December the 14th. So please stay locked and loaded. Please be sure to like, business page. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to watch it because it's just an opportunity for us to be able to engage and share. So I really want to thank you all for, for joining. And what also happens is that I, take it upon myself because I think that because we're all in this space as entrepreneurs and we're still attempting to figure out this space, I am going to be showcasing a number of entrepreneurs that I do follow on Instagram. Some of them I have actually collaborated with, done business with, but just wanted to share their Instagram pages, and hopefully you'll be able to tune in on Monday night because we're going to be continuing discussion, and I'm going to be speaking to another author. So I want to thank you again for taking time out of your space, and stay tuned. I got this video for you. Thanks again.